The cultural heritage left by the ancestors from one generation to another is certainly the ultimate form that can define a people or a nation. The customs and traditions, language and oral culture, the sense of beauty and architecture, but also clear scientific evidence, they all make the picture of a nation that wants to be present in history. It is therefore very important that each of these elements of identity to be kept as a true spiritual jewelry chest, without which that specific nation, having no past, cannot talk about the future. This movie invites you to meet the Romanian people from every part of the land or place where Romanian language speakers lived or still live. We decided therefore to trace several cultural and spirituality landmarks on both sides of the old Danubius. We shall start from the motherland, from here the territory of Mehedin's country, and then we shall cross the Danube in Serbia to bring to light the geographical, historical and cultural particularities that speak for themselves about the population of Romanian origin who lives here, keeping what defines it, regardless of the time. The southern border of the Mehedin's county is outlined in 192 kilometers by the Danube. This country is a Romania in miniature, with all forms of relief equally divided: 33% mountains, 33% hills and plateaus, and 33% plains. Mountains and hills are crossed by rivers and streams into the Danube. Mehedin County, to the archaeological sites discovered here, bears witness to the existence of human settlements since ancient times, going even in the Middle Paleolithic. This area is so special, holds the oldest traces of human inhabitation on the entire country. Archaeological discoveries in the caves in Dubova, plus those on Skela Kladove, Danube Boils, Shimian Iceland, are just some of those who show the early human settlements from 12,000 to 7,000 BC. In one of the current city neighborhoods of Drobeta Turnseverin, namely Skela Kladove, after excavation, a team of archaeologists was to discover traces of human settlements from the Epipaleolithic period. It is mentioned even the Skela Kladove culture developed between 8,000 and 5,500 BC. Archaeological evidence are of great importance. It was discovered here the oldest Homo sapiens in Europe and the oldest stable human settlement in Europe. The wealth of these lands near the Danube did not leave indifferent the Roman emperors, who began to turn their attention to this region. This explains the existence of the ruins of not less than 10 Roman camps built until the 4th century AD during Emperor Justinian. Some of the most important archaeological evidence of this type are the ruins of the Roman camp from Drobeta, located in the city of Drobeta Turnseverin. It was built during the Roman Emperor Trajan, at that time one of the largest in Dacia. In fact, it has even become the first urban center of Dacia, after Sarmisegetusa and Apulum. Drobeta was the first stone fortress built in Dacia between 103 and 105, a Roman defense camp originally built to house 500 soldiers. They were meant to guard the bridge built by Emperor Trajan between 102 and 105 after the drawings of the architect Apollodorus of Damascus. It was here that both Latin and Christian missionaries entered in Romanian territory. Trajan's bridge over the Danube was the most daring work of ancient Roman engineering. The technical formulas are not entirely known even today. It was built on 20 stone blocks pillars, 1,135 meters long, 14.55 meters wide, and 18.60 meters high. At the two ends, it had one portal monument. The relics on vertical can be seen even today on both sides of the Danube. The superstructure of the bridge was demolished by Emperor Adrian's order to prevent disobedient barbarians cross the Danube. Middle Age found a more organized politically country of Severin than the lands across the Old River. The first reliable news about the region with this name we found since 1230, because in 1247 the Hungarian kingdom brought the Knights of St. John into the country into giving them residence here in Severin, where they will build the medieval fortress of Severin, a powerful fortress. Inside it, a Gothic church was built, perhaps the Catholic episcopate from Severin, which lasted until 1502. The Knights retired in 1259, and the city remained vulnerable to everybody, to the Turks, Bulgarians, and Tatars who wanted to cross the Danube in order to reach the Hungarians, to the Hungarians who also trained the Vlachs, these trying to defend themselves from all of them. Mehedint County is also a spring of voivodal foundations, aristocratic and monastic. The monasteries and hermitages from Vodica, Topolnica, Gura Motrului, Strihaya, Baia de Arama, Holy Trinity in Cernăți, or Mercuna, all are veritable defensive redoubts of faith and humanity in the corner of the country, and also important centers of education and culture. Here began the remarkable reorganization of Romanian monasticism done by Saint Nicodemus of Tismana. He was said one of the oldest Romanian hierarchical institutions. The oldest documented voivodal foundation, Vodica Monastery, and also the first monastic establishment in our country, managed in an autonomous way by the Eastern Church, rules established by the Saint Basil the Great.
Mănăstirea Vodica a fost ctitorită de Sfântul Nicodim, cel care, prin rânduiala lui Dumnezeu, vine pe meleagurile noastre din părțile Serbiei, trecând Dunărea, în chip miraculos. El întemeiază nu numai mănăstirea Vodica, dar și alte mănăstiri, precum Topolnica sau Coșuștea Activelnic, scriind prin aceasta o frumoasă pagină în Cartea de Aur a monahismului românesc. El rămâne în conștiința poporului nostru ca acela care a organizat monahismul de obște, pentru că el acumulase o bogată experiență duhovnicească în Sfântul Munte Athos.
In the late 15th century, When the Ottoman conquest began the expansion to conquest Europe's nation, after occupying the fortress of Severin in 1524, all of the old lands of the churches founded by Saint Nicodemus were one by one confirmed to Tismana Monastery. After the Austro-Turkish War ended with the Peace of Passarowitz in 1718, Vodica Monastery entered in a period of decadence. The reconstruction of the old monastery began in 1919 with the establishment of Vodica Society, with the blessing of the worthy to be remembered Nestor Vornicescu, who was the Metropolitan of Oltenia in that period. Moreover, the construction of a wooden church began in 1995. For its realization, there were also taken some elements of the traditional style from Maramuresh. As a county, Mehedinsk is first mentioned as a territorial and administrative division in January 27, 1483, in the decree issued by Prince Vlad, the monk, in connection with the territorial and administrative assessment of the Romanian country, and until the time of Michael the Brave, the land between the Danube and Old Oltenia region today was called Country Mehedinsk. The bridge built over the Danube at a distance of almost 2 millennia from the one built by Apollodorus of Damascus is now a real link for Romanians living on both sides of the Danube. It is a link that has been permanently kept throughout history. In the land south of the Danube, Romanians formed in a similar process of ethnogenesis as the ones from the north of the Danube, occupying the area located between the Morava River in the west, Artan Mountains in the south, the Danube River in the north, and the Timok River in the east. Similar to the Romanian territory north of the river, traces of habitation on this territory belonging to Serbia today have appeared since ancient times, Mesolithic period. And if it's said that the Mehedinsk county, it was discovered the oldest stable human civilization in Europe, in the area of Skala Kladove, similar to it in Serbia, it was discovered the Lepinski Vir culture. Since the late Bronze Age, until the conquest of the Balkans in 168 to 75 BC by the Romans, many cultures and civilization passed one after another in this area. In the 2nd century BC, the region was conquered by the Romans, who gave it the name of Mercia. Later, in the 5th and 6th centuries AD, the region was frequently attacked by the Huns, Japids, and Ostrogoths. Serbians also appeared in this period and occupied the western part of this region, and only after a millennium, namely in 1833, did they get to extend over the entire region of Timok and Morava. Another extremely important archaeological evidence in the Serbian side of the Danube, on the border with Romania, is Fortress Golubac. It was built 700 years ago in a strategic point on the Danube, before the Danube boilers and the iron gates. The aim was to keep both the river and the ground traffic and to create a point for collecting taxes. The fortress is built on the place of a Roman site, not far from Tabula Traiana, stone plate inscribed in Trajan's time. The fortress, with strong stone walls, 10 towers and a defensive moat, was used in turns and disputed by Serbians, Hungarians and Turks as a last resort of defense or outpost of the Ottoman Empire. The fortress, which seems to grow naturally from the stone of the mountain, has a chapel and it was once inhabited. Another important historical landmark located in the Serbian side of the Danube are the ruins of the other end of the bridge, built 2,000 years ago by the famous architect Apollodorus of Damascus. These ruins bear witness over time as those from the Romanian side of the river to the existence of an ancient stable civilization in these blessed lands. Since 1389, after the decisive Battle of Kosovo Pole, the region falls under the Ottoman rule and Romanian majority population between Timok and Morava has great autonomy as considered in the Walahen law. The population was obliged to pay only an annual tribute directly to the Sultan, not to the Pasha of Vidin. 400 years later, starting with the 18th century, part of the Timok region and also part of Oltenia region were ruled by the Austrians. There were recorded abuses, massive foreign colonization and massive displacement of Serbian population from the historical region Raška and Kosovo to the Danube region centered in Belgrade. Since 1833, Margina or Krajina region, as Serbian used to call it, was included in Serbia. This was the beginning of a process of forced assimilation of Romanians in southern Danube. The church school and authorities made the Christian name Serbian by the church document number 565 of August 1899. The Bishop of Timok gave an order to priests under his jurisdiction to give to children only national clean baptismal names after a list of Serbian baptism names displayed in every church, mandatory for all local residents. To the Romanian surname, it was added a suffix like ICI or OVICI, each or Ovic, as in the following examples: Ursulovic, Krachunovic, Lupulovic, or Lapadarovic. Currently in Serbia Krajina region, there are 532 localities, of which 20 cities and towns and 512 villages, with a total population in 2002 of 520,050 inhabitants. Villages had more than 60% of the Romanian population from Timok region, and they were the ones ensuring Romanians' continuity in the area. The village participated in the enrichment of the civilization's heritage, and it was the keeper of traditions, folk art. The Romanian cultural heritage from Mehedin's region and Bor region in Serbia is reflected even in today by the striking reassemblance of houses from the rural area with the ones in Mehedin's county. Not only in rural areas of the two territories are the similarities obvious, they are even in Serbian cities where a considerable Romanian population lives. Many buildings that look remarkably similar in terms of architecture, as in the case of the cities Drobeta-Târgu-Severin, municipality of Mehedinti County, and the cities Negatin and Kladovo in Serbia. Links between the Romanian population on both sides of the Danube continued even in adversity. It was not few times that Romanian kings in the north of the Danube came to help the Romanian from the region between Timok and Morava. They even managed to build places of worship here. One of them was Radu the Great, who founded one of the most beautiful and famous churches on the foothills of Artan Mountains, that is Lupushna Church, from the town Boljevac.
Biserica asta este ctitoria voievodului Radu cel Mare. E construită cam la începutul secolului al XVI-lea și e foarte interesant că ca istoricii, chiar un doctor de istorie din zona noastră, român, vorbește că aici s-ar putea să fi fost sediu episcopiei Vlahe, care exista pe vremuri și cuprindea pe toți vlahi din Balcani. Acum, date precise nu prea avem, măcar noi nu le știm, poate că există vreundeva, dar e important că asta dovedește că biserica care îi cuprindea pe români din Timok sau așa numiți vlahi, întotdeauna și-a avut o autonomie, să spun așa, pentru că aparțineam de Biserica Ortodoxă Română sau aveam episcopia, care am numit-o Episcopia Vlahă, care tot aparținea de Constantinopol. Ne aflăm la cimitirul orașului Negotin, ori Nigocin, cum spunem noi pe românește, și aici avem două dintre câteva pietre funerare, câteva cruci de piatră din cimitirul vechi care a mai rămas. Prima asta e din 1874 și aici în limba sârbă scrie Ovde leže kosti Dumitra Balțațana. Aici odihnesc oasele lui Dumitru Balțațan. De la nume Dumitru Balțațan vedem că ăsta a fost român. Astăzi există în Negotin familia a lui Balțațan, numai că e Balțațanovici.
For nearly 2 centuries, since 1833, in the Romanian churches in south of the Danube, masses were served in the Old Slavic language, which made the connection with the church to waken and to preserve in villages ancient customs and rituals. Nowadays, to the care of priest Boyan Alexandrovich, Romanians from Timok Valley can pray in a church where the Mass is celebrated in Romanian language, as it happens years ago. The church from the village calls to prayer all Romanians from Timok area on each Sunday and also in other days of feast.